how we treat other people. If you're a light worker or an empath or somebody who is desiring to be a person of goodness and decency, you're orientating yourself to love, you're orientating yourself to a more profound lightness of being, okay, you're orientating yourself to a more Christ-like state, then asking this philosophical question is extremely important. And it is, if other people were to treat me how I treat them, would I like it? Okay, now I'm not here to say that you're a person who's a horrible, nasty person who XYZ. I'm not here to say that. I'm just saying it is one of those questions that a person can ask themselves, which helps to open the door to that Christed state of being. Okay, and that is that if other people treated me the way I treat them, would I like it? And it allows you to open yourself to a deeper level of awareness, a deeper level of conscientiousness, okay, a deeper level of understanding, okay, and therefore you can walk forward even if people around you aren't being good and decent and, you know, empaths and light workers and just trying to, you know, help change the world. If they're not doing that, this understanding, this question, this philosophy can help you to stay on course. It can help you to stay on track, okay? Because I was on Facebook the other day, sort of going through a few groups, looking at comments and what people were saying, and one person, they outright said on this post, human beings shouldn't exist. And I read that, and I'm like, what a phenomenal statement to make. You know, and this woman had said human beings shouldn't exist. You know, basically saying we're a virus, curse, everything's bad, everything's terrible, and every person is terrible, and etc., etc. And I just challenged it. You know, I was like, you know, I just basically said along the lines that, you know, if you recognise that something is wrong with the way people are, that must be that you see that it should be better, it should be good and decent and loving, and so I commend you for being a person of love and goodness and decency. You know, and so it was just this recognition that a lot of people hate people, but coincidentally, they only do so because they recognise what is wrong. So instead of hating people or saying that people shouldn't exist, perhaps the reason why you're upset with people is because you recognise that people can behave better and it should be better, and therefore you can be a paladin of goodness and decency. You can be a paladin, a way shower, a leader of lightness and love and compassion and understanding and just something all round generally better. You know, that is what you can be. And it all stems from this question of how we treat others. So, you know, if I was to go out there into the world and say that, you know, human beings shouldn't exist, then what I can do is reflect to myself and say, right, if I was to be told that, how would I feel? You know, that I shouldn't exist. Probably not good, you know? Probably not very good. And so it's, again, just about exploring this question, this understanding, this philosophy. You know, if we recognise that goodness is inherent in all things, because even when you say that human beings shouldn't exist, or etc., etc., there must be a part of you that recognises the duality of that, right? That we are bad. And so there must be that you're recognising it's bad because inside you know that it could be good. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. Think about it. You know? Or else, if there was only one orientation on our planet, would we even be bothered or fazed? You know, because it would just be as it is. You know, nobody, I don't know if people are running around saying that gravity shouldn't exist, you know, or that the wind shouldn't exist, or the sun shouldn't exist, or trees shouldn't exist, you know. They are unconditional. So we know that they're supposed to be there, right? I would argue that the same goes for human beings, you know. So it really does boil down, and here's the big one for this video. Who do we choose to be? Okay? Who do we choose to be? Who do we choose to be? Because, you know, if you're going out there in the world and saying that human beings shouldn't exist, or that all people are bad, or all men are bad, or all women are bad, for those who are susceptible to that suggestion, hurt women or hurt men or just hurt people in general, you've no idea the damage you could be doing. Because you could be reinforcing those beliefs that human beings are a virus, that men are a virus, that women are a virus, right? You could be reinforcing those philosophies in the minds of other people, okay? And I'd argue that that's a pretty bad thing to do, you know? That's a pretty intense activity to complete, you know? So it's just something to think about, you know, like, okay, people are abusive to you, they're hateful towards you, they say things towards you, and etc, etc. Going back to the video we recently did about forgiveness, you know, forgiveness is not about accepting unacceptable behaviour. It's about seeing from the eyes of the other world. It's about seeing from the eyes of God, seeing from the eyes of the universe, seeing from the eyes of all that is, whichever one of those resonates with you. Because if you can see from a higher perspective, from a higher plane, you're understanding that their behaviour is only because of what they've experienced. You know, there's a famous philosophy in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, that says people are not their behaviour, right? People are not their behaviour because people have experienced bad things. Whereas a person put in the same... So you have the same person, same fingerprint, same being that was put in a place of love, and one that was put in a place of hatred and anger. I suppose there's an argument as to how would which one turn out. You know, perhaps the person who come into the place of love would be a loving person, and the person who came out of hate would be a hateful person, you know? Oftentimes, that's usually how it works. Perhaps there are exceptions, but I reckon 90-95% of the time, that's how it works. So, be the beacon of goodness and decency. Be the love. Be the compassion. Okay? Ask yourself this deeply philosophical question, which is, if other people treated me how I treat them, would I be okay with it? If the answer is absolutely yes, I love myself, amazing, you're on the path. If the answer is, maybe I am snappy, maybe I am hateful, maybe I do attack people, maybe I do take my stuff out on others, maybe I do disturb the peace of other human beings, maybe there's a little bit of work to be done there, a perspective shift to do, or to engage in, okay? You know, I always try to think about how my words, my behaviours, my actions affect and influence other people. You know, it's a powerful activity and practice to do. How we treat others. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. As always, one-on-one sessions, card readings, I offer those on my website. You're more than welcome to come over and check those out. And please feel free to subscribe to the video if you enjoyed this video, if it meant something to you. Leave a comment down below of your thoughts on this topic. Drop a like. Take care of yourselves, my friends, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye bye.